Can you talk about how letting go of the perfectionism changed your life, Michelle? And what steps, listeners, we have a lot of entrepreneurs who listen. What can they do to rewrite their story of enoughness? And what did you do?
What a great question. And it is that constant journeying and reconnecting and checking back in, because
your message equals your $1 million anthem. You don't have a sales problem, you have a message problem. If your words don't captivate, they don't convert. I have helped Grammy-winning artists craft unforgettable songs, and now we help entrepreneurs just like you craft your business messaging that actually sells.
You don't need more hustle, you need the right strategy. I help scale multi-million-dollar companies, and we can show you exactly how to systemize, scale, and dominate the market without drowning in the grind. Welcome to the Conquer Club podcast.
Today's guest is Michelle Cameron Coulter, a 6-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and founder of the Gold Medal Method. She's gone from failing her first swim test 4 times to Olympic gold, from losing everything twice, I believe, to reinventing her life and career around soul-aligned success. Michelle empowers high-achieving women and former elite athletes to reclaim clarity, confidence, and momentum with well-being and community at the core. Michelle, welcome to the Conquer Club podcast.
Yay! So excited to be here.
So glad to finally have you on and get to know your story. And we're so excited for our listeners to go deeper with everything you've walked out through and conquered and got a little gold in there. How about that?
And continue to walk through, right?
Yeah, for sure. We never arrive, do we?
Yes, correct.
No. Yeah. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for being here on the Conquer Club podcast. So let's just jump right into it. I know a lot of our listeners will benefit and want to know a little bit more about this. So you actually did fail your first swimming test 4 times, then fast forward, became an Olympic gold medalist. In those early setbacks, what mindset shift sparked your journey from fear to fierce possibilities?
Ooh, I love that question. I fierce possibilities. That's so good. Well, you know what? There was a few shifts that happened, and I appreciate you asking that, because I was so afraid of the water. I grew up in a blended family of 10 kids, and swimming wasn't an option. It was a life skill. And for some reason, I was petrified, like to the level of I wouldn't jump in the deep end. I actually hit my chin on the edge of the pool the last attempt because I wouldn't jump in. And when I had, it kind of knocked me out. And the weird thing is I sunk to the bottom of the pool, and I remember looking up thinking, this isn't so bad. Like it literally knocked that fear out of me. And the irony is when we let go, I don't know why they call it the dead man's float, but when we let go, it's never as bad as we think. So never in a million years did I think that this shy, quiet, sick kid would go on to be an Olympic champion. Are you kidding me? Let alone in the pool. So it was a continuous process of letting go of things the whole time. Like, it's like we think we've got it, and it's like another amazing stretch or challenge comes and we've got to let go again. So it's just, that's kind of a motto of mine. What do I get to let go of? What beliefs? So I know that's a long-winded question, but that is like, there's kind of this formula I call sink, swim, and float. Like whenever something's new, it's normal to have that sinking feeling. We're not breathing. And it's like when we pause for a moment and actually let go, it's never as bad. And then we can move. And the swim is creating that momentum. Like we can learn to swim and thrash across the pool and it uses up a ton shizzle lot of energy, or ask for help. And that's where like the coaching, like, oh, if you just do this and tweak this, it's easier. And then float is kind of enjoying it too, taking in those moments. So I know that was a long answer, but there's lots of shifts that happen into being able to step into that fierceness.
Just let go.
Yeah.
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 Just and easier said than done. But
100%.
once you do it, you thinking, "What in the world? Why was I so fearful?"
Mhm.
So that takes me to the next question. I know that your story it inspires perfectionists, high
Mhm.
achievers, and former athletes everywhere. We were talking before the show that we all three played collegiate athletics in
Mhm.
different forms. And so
And not forgetting that it gets to start out messy to start with. Like, don't be afraid to fall and fail and get back up. And I know one of the things that was a big adjustment for me is getting to that height, that level, and then all of a sudden the expectations that, oh, you should be able to do everything at that level, and it's not true. It's like, so letting go of those expectations for something new and giving it a chance to be messy again and to have what I call FUN, to have fun with it. It's so
yeah.
easy when we get into that perfection phase to think that we have to have all our ducks in alignment,
Mhm.
and think about how long it took to get to wherever we are that we've spent time on. It can take longer when we hang on to it. We have to have all our shizzle together for it to happen. Like, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, even before the Olympic swim, having moments of like doubt coming in and just being able to change in a moment. Well, literally the motto my partner and I would say before we swam was, let's go out there and have fun and like shake off that stuff. So if we keep getting back to the basics, it doesn't mean that it's not hard work. And it's like, when we have those things that are challenging and testing us, how do we create some lightness and fun around it and even gamify it a little bit so it's not as
Yeah.
heavy? And then the last part, I mean, there's so many pieces of this, but it's celebrating those little steps of progress because we might not even see it. And what happens if we don't celebrate those? We can get to that goal and it feel empty because it's not that
Mm.
goal, it's not that thing, it's that pursuit of it that really we get to squeeze the joy and fun out of.
Uh,
If you're okay, I have something in my office
yeah.
that is really near and dear to my heart because I started my sport super late. I was 13 and everyone's like, "You're way too old." Everyone had been swimming 5 and 6 years already. So that note, you're never too old to start something, okay? Don't let anybody think that. My mom started her last company at 75 years young. Like,
Mm.
if you have something that's driving you and you have this inspiration, it gets to
Mm.
be messy and go. But this is in my office. This is the second year I made the senior B team. Not because I was good enough. They needed another swimmer. I was pretty crappy, honestly. And I was worried about letting anybody else down. How many of us feel that part of that pressure is you don't want to let anybody down? And so I never swam to beat somebody. It was always just do a little bit better, do a little bit better. At the end of the year, I won this little tiny trophy called, it was the most improved trophy. It was like, I have this beside my Olympic medal because I wouldn't have got it without that. So to the point of
Mm.
celebrating those wins every day, like celebrating those things, is really,
Mhm.
really key. And another huge component is community, like being in a community that supports you, understands what you're moving towards, and that you can have real conversations about. Like, I think when we think, again, I use the word shizzle, when we think we have to have all of our shizzle together,
Yes.
no, and then that adds so much more pressure. Like, it's about, again, letting go, having more fun, being a little lighter. That's how we build resiliency too, because we need
Mhm.
that resiliency to keep getting up, shake it off, and keep going.
Yeah.
So I know that's a long answer, but there's so many parts of it
Yeah.
that we know these things when I tell
Yeah.
you that, but it's a whole other thing to actually do it and implement it.
Love the message in there. Celebrate the small wins.
Yeah.
Just celebrate the small wins. Don't take those for granted. Don't overlook them because you are getting better and better. So fantastic. That is great advice. What we also want to dig a little deeper into with regards to what you have done and what you're doing today, Michelle, is so you have rebuilt after loss and faced the imposter syndrome and also faced burnout.
Mhm.
What's one daily habit or ritual from your gold medal method that helps you and also helps the ones that you are coaching today maintain clarity and momentum, especially when you're not having a very good day?
Yeah. I love that question. And this might sound so simple, but it really is big. And I talk about it in my TEDx talk, because if you get down to the basics, and this is my formula, it's nap, snack, play, and celebrate our way. Like
Mm.
when you say one thing, if you could take that little bundle, and I'll just break that down just a little bit, because when we get
Yeah,
back to the
break it down.
foundation, everyone knows in sport, you go back to the foundations. And if you can figure out these like handful of things, nap, make sure you're rested. Like when you're like
Mm.
feeling burnout, do you notice like if you take that little rest or step away, you come back with more clarity. When we keep going and we're exhausted, it takes 5, 10 times more. We get super frustrated and we can get in this funnel of going down. So nap is really about resting. And do you notice you'll get some of your best ideas when you've stepped away, like having a shower, 3 in the morning. We get those ideas when we're rested. So that nap is foundational. Snack is making sure we're fueling our body and our minds. Like, what are we putting in our body? Are we staying hydrated? It's so simple. Keep a glass of water by your bed. We all know this. I'm good
Hmm.
and I'm bad. There's not times where I'm super consistent. We're human, right? So those basics, the snack, and what are we exposing ourselves to on a daily basis? Are we listening to all the news and all the things that we don't have control of? Or are we filling our minds with stuff that can fuel us? And then play, like shake it off, play, watch athletes before they compete. They're usually jumping around. That was us. I loved it when competitors before us had good music. We're dancing around. This is one of my mottos. This is in my office. It's about the big F you. And like have fun with what you're
And
doing, play.
Right.
And then the celebrating part too. So that
Mhm.
nap, snack, play, celebrate, we go more, way more into depth of that, but that's kind of the foundational part of it. Like, remember to get back to those basics of simply taking care of ourselves. That's filling that cup. We've heard too many times, put your oxygen mask on first. We know that, but how many of us actually do it? Goes in one ear and out the other. So it's really foundational. Yeah.
Mm. That's so good. It reminds me, I mean, as soon as you said that, I thought kindergarten. You know,
Exactly.
it took me back to there. That's what we did. It was so great. And why do we get so far away from that? And Michelle, I
Exactly.
mean, you know, as being a coach now and being coached for all of those years, coaches need coach too,
Yeah.
because sometimes the coaching is so driven, and so you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, and the days of rest, there's no moments to rest sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's such a foundational, so key, especially in our
hmm
world today, that I think, you know, sometimes the off season of sports isn't really an off season. You know
Right.
how it's changed, like
And
we're
that's,
having the off season, but you need to join this summer league, please. You
which
know?
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's where burnout happens. That's where we see dropout early on. I was telling you earlier about me starting my sport super late. A lot of
Yeah.
the girls were quitting already because they were fried.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about endurance of the entrepreneur, endurance of the CEO, endurance of the parent, endurance of the child, these are foundational. When we lose that, burnout
Yes.
happens. I keep going back to those foundationals and the fun part. My Honestly, we were talking about this earlier. Like, my greatest teachers have been my kids. It gets me emotional. I have 4 amazing kids. They're all young adults. They have been my best teachers because every one of them is different. What they need is different. The foundation is all the same, but I've learned some of my most amazing lessons from my kids. I want to share one that's really profound too, because if we take anything away, it's this one lesson. And I remember, so my oldest daughter is now a teacher. She played on the national team for 5 years, played pro for 5 years, volleyball. They all followed their dad's footsteps. But I remember when she was like 10 years old and I was having a really rough day, like pressure, pushing myself too hard, a vein almost coming out of the side of my neck, and I'm running late. And she opens the garage door and she says, Mommy, remember I love you. And remember, the energy you put out is the environment you create. Oh my God, she was 10 at
Yeah.
that time. I share about her being a teacher now. She was a born teacher. My kids have
Mm.
been my greatest teachers, but it's like the energy we put out is the environment we create. If we're
Wow.
fried out, burnt out, we can't create a high performance environment. We're
Yeah.
not good for the people around us. So it's so key. If that's the one thing, what is the energy we're creating?
Yeah.
And that's what we're
Mhm.
putting out, whether it's our business, our family, our relationships. That's
So
foundational.
good, Michelle. I've heard it said like that. It's so good because, especially, it's much easier to activate that when our kids, hindsight, it's 2020, but when you have the 4 kids and you're wrestling them and all the things. But the truth is, I've heard it said that we create whatever temperature of your home is,
Yeah.
especially as a mom, you can, or dad, you can really set that temperature, and it's going to be hot in there and everybody's hot and miserable and sweaty, or it's going to be, the temperature will be
Mm.
just right and everybody feels at peace with that. So that's so good, and I love that. I love also that I just said that to a friend last week. Gosh, it's amazing. Our kids has taught me the most about me, for
Mhm.
And
sure.
I love that we're having this conversation for a moment too. And when we talked about, when I first talked about nap, snack, play in kindergarten, because really
Mm,
when kids are kind of free and like, look at, if they're crabby or they're, have you had a snack? Go take a nap, go outside and play. That should never change. Also, the voice of a child, if we listen, for my daughter to say that to me at 10 years old, to be that observant, to kind of say, obviously, the energy I was creating was very not healthy in that moment. But it's so
Yeah.
easy for us to get in this place and be almost unconscious of it.
totally.
So, like the purity of our kids and their reflections, like if we can get back to that part that's in us that's kind of screaming to get out, often we like, when does it happen that
Mm,
teacher asks the questions, and like when you're little, all the hands go flying up, oh, me, and then it starts to change, right? So if we can peel back to get
mm,
to that innocence, pure understanding, joy
so good.
part,
Yeah.
that's kind of the
Oh, that's
spring,
good.
right?
That's so good, Michelle, because God's word says, create in me a pure heart and have faith like a child. You just
Beautiful.
said it. That's what your daughter exemplified. Create
Mm-hmm.
me a pure heart and have faith like a child.
Mm-hmm.
So we often talk about in this Conquer Club, what is it that maybe pivoted you into your purpose? And it sounds like at some point you hit rock bottom, and not just after your sport. And I'd love to know more about losing it all twice. Can you
Mm-hmm.
walk us through a pivotal moment, Michelle, that you reclaimed your purpose?
Wow. I want to rewind a bit to one of those pivotal points in my sport career and then post it. So, one of the things that was such a shift in the way that I thought and in the way of what was possible is, I remember my coach saying to me before we even went to our first world championships, we trained 6 to 8 hours a day, 6 to 8. And she stopped me in the middle of practice and she said, how would you do it if you were already a world champion? And it
Mhm.
just shifted the way I thought, right? How would you do it? I didn't want to be that person that walked out on deck that thought they were better than anyone else.
Mm.
There's a difference between walking out with confidence and walking out with cockiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like to step into that knowingness that I was surrounded with that support. Um, the part that people didn't see, and I think I shared maybe a little bit with you earlier, is that there was still quite a pressure I put on myself. And I had at one point a coach said to me, "You're getting fat." And you're already being judged. We judge ourselves harder than anybody else.
Yeah.
I actually developed an eating disorder my last 5 years of my swimming career and 10 years after. I was so hard on myself. And the catalyst to change was I didn't want my girls to go through that. And when
Mm.
I understood that, when I found out that 80% of high achievers, especially women, have imposter syndrome, they don't feel good enough, and 91% of women and girls don't like their bodies, I'm like, that is a catalyst for change.
Yeah.
And for me, that's one of my big drivers, is that I know that we can achieve so much. We all have what I call gold medal potential. And it's like, and we can do it without that latter part of beating ourselves so much. What if we were able to let go of that part of it and just step in, messy, fun, celebrate each other? Like, it doesn't have to be as hard as we think it needs to be. We all have that capacity to do so much more. And it's not about pulling someone else down to get there.
Yes.
We really do rise when we rise together.
Yep.
So, fast forwarding into losing everything twice. And the first time came when I was expecting our fourth baby. Our marriage was not in a good place. We had lost the communication and being connected. So it's so easy to get in our paths of this, that we're losing these other things that are important. So it's like, that's why it's like checking in, not just celebrating, but checking in on what's important in that journey, your health, your relationships, your family, like all these things are so important in it. And it was when we did lose everything. We were hospicing my husband's father, and lost our home. He had a partnership where, again, it's not about achieving at all cost, and how you treat someone's how you treat everyone. It's like, don't, like, watch, like,
Mm.
watch. And so, yeah, we basically start all over. And that was the start of rebuilding our relationship. It was
Mm.
deciding. We had to decide. So one of the first things that you ask, it's like making that conscious decision to give it everything. And honestly, that was the first time we turned over everything to a bigger purpose, turn it over, because we knew we
Mm.
couldn't do it on our own.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that makes me
Oh.
emotional, because I haven't really talked about this in a long time, because I know we were
Mm.
so far gone, that having faith in a bigger purpose,
Yeah.
and to ask for help and guidance. So
Mm.
that was,
Mhm.
again, not trying to do it all on our own.
How
Yeah.
many listeners could relate to that, Michelle? It's so true. We try to be so independent, so tough, so driven, and it's in actuality, like you said, community. It's like, if I can just get vulnerable with you for a minute, we're not good.
Yeah.
We're not doing good.
Yeah.
But how beautiful that I just posted this morning, from the ashes of that, the ashes of what you and your husband walked through. It was actually those ashes that were the foundation for the new building, the
Hmm.
new beginning.
Hmm.
Beauty from ashes. So
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
that's beautiful. Michelle, that's beautiful.
I wanted to share too. We talked about this earlier, about not going into that victim phase too, to be careful,
Yeah,
because it's like sharing that story, but
totally.
how you come from that story is really important. Because the second time we lost everything, I was actually co-chairing our United Way campaign in our city. Our goal was 50 million. The whole world came out from underneath us in 2008. Like, we had
Mm.
set target, and right after,
Yeah.
what happened then. And what people didn't know is that my husband was in a development company, and they had leveraged a lot. It all got, like, came out from underneath us at that
Mm.
point.
Mm.
And one of the things I had to really watch is, because I was sharing, I understood so much of where people were. Like, when we're in challenging situations, it's not just one thing that causes us to get there, it's a lot of things. And I understood so much. It's being careful not to go into the stories so much that you create that as well. And so,
Yes.
one of the part of the formulas that I talk about, and again, it's having that fun part, is naps, nut, play, and wine squared. So wine squared is wine. Get out the stuff that's bugging you, but there's a scale of wine. Like, we can wine so much, like, that it's like we can be stuck in the wine, or not
That's right.
enough where we're holding it inside. So there's kind of a scale of the wine.
Yeah.
And then the wine, you don't have to drink wine, but it signifies celebrating.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can
Right.
celebrate too much or
Yeah.
not enough. So it's like the scale of the wine squared for that. So it's like
That's
really
good.
having that realness. And then what do you do to move forward, which is really, really key.
Mm. So good. Yes. Cheers to the wine.
You got water. And I need more coffee.
The water in the,
Oh, I love
oh
it.
gosh. Well,
Mhm.
Kev, I know you were going to talk to her or ask the question about her TEDx talk. Kevin's paused for a second. Can you hear me, babe? I don't think he can hear
He's
us.
like, I think she just talked so long, I wasn't
He
sure if she was done.
he he can't I don't think he can hear us.
Uh-oh, did
Okay,
we
so
lose you, Kevin?
I think we've lost him. Uh, can you hear us, babe?
Don, you can keep going. I've lost volume.
Okay. All right. Well, I wonder that. Okay, so I'll just ask keep Michelle, it's not hard for two women to keep talking. Let's just keep
And
going.
Kevin can just look good. He's like,
Kevin, just smile pretty.
I love that he has a Nashville behind him. He's really singing. He's listening to Garth Brooks right now as we're
That's
talking.
right. Oh gosh. Okay, Michelle. So your TEDx talk is called How to Move, correct me if I'm wrong, but how to move from perfection to possibility. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so as listeners and founders who are listening right now, for busy founders or CEOs or anyone feeling the pressure, like I'm not far enough, or I always have to achieve the next thing, what is the first step in moving from that pressure to possibility in your life, progress over perfection?
Yeah, so good. And it is one, letting go. Like first we have to
Mhm.
pause and realize that that's where we're stuck in. And as soon as we let go of the expectations and the pressure and turn that, I'm not kidding, into FUN, into more fun,
Yeah.
we create momentum. It's like when you, I love like my logo is like it's a water droplet. We create a ripple effect from just one little dot and moving forward. And I want you to imagine right now, you're at a swimming pool and you go and run and you do the biggest cannonball. It's messy, it's fun, and it has the biggest ripple. So the more fun
Yeah.
when we just kind of let go of that, you know what? We get clarity, we get confidence by creating momentum. We don't wait till we're confident. We don't wait till we're courageous. We don't wait till it's perfect or it will never be. And there's no such thing as perfection. So as soon as we can let go of that, that alleviates, we're breathing more. We can actually move and flow way better. And then we're creating that energy, the energy that we want to put out. The energy we put out is then the environment we create. What kind
Mm,
of environment do we create when we let go? Because
that's good.
don't your kids feel when you're under pressure? Does
Uh,
your,
yes. I've said it like this, Michelle, where there's a waterfall, everybody gets splashed. And
mhm.
that's in the good and the bad, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So yes, it's that temperature thing. It's that energy thing you
yeah.
shared.
And I think one of the big things of letting go of is comparisitis, because everyone's in a different place. Everyone's had a different
Yeah.
experience getting there. And when we look at Tom, Joe, and Mary, or wow, look what they're doing. Well, like we don't know their story of where they've been to.
Right.
So we can always think, I should be further ahead. I should have my shizzle together by now. And
Yeah.
it's understand it's a roller coaster. There 100% are going to be up and down. That's part of that growth. And it's every time you get back up, we're stronger. So
Yeah.
just think about it. It's like, okay, I learned so much from my mom,
Mm.
so many incredible life lessons. And one of the things she always said is something good comes out of everything. So when you let go and go, okay, what's the good lesson out of this? Oh, it doesn't work that way. Okay, let's try the next one.
Mm.
So just letting go of that need to think we have to have all the answers before we move is foundational.
Yeah. And have a little FU fun.
Yeah.
FU. So tell us about your pods. You have this
Yeah.
coaching groups for, I think, again, you can make it clearer.
Yeah,
You have
sure.
coaching groups that are IM pods for former athletes. Is that right,
Well,
Michelle?
I have a group of former athletes, but really it's a mix. So the
Okay.
IM pods are for high achievers that know there's more, but
Mm,
they're doing it on their own, and it's
mm,
so like emotionally draining. But they have so much potential. So the IM pods are all about having a lot more fun in a community. It's kind of like your own team. Everyone can
mm,
be working on different things. There's two things they
mm,
choose to work on. One, it's always their health and well-being is foundational, whether they want to get healthier mentally, physically, emotionally, and then
mm.
whatever project. So we create amazing momentum in a 90-day kind of sprint. With the pods are no bigger than 12 people. So you really get to know each other. It's like your own cheerleading team, literally. And the challenges that each other go through, it's just like, oh my God, you feel the same way. And we just, everyone elevates each other. So it's like, it creates this beautiful momentum. So, and so there's lots of different pods within this ecosystem that all understands we achieve through way more fun and on being in a supportive team. So
That's so fun. So
yeah,
fun and so good. And it just, yeah, if we can just relax in it, it's not like you're being lazy. You're
no,
just with a group of people and cheering you on. It's so much better to do it together.
so true. And and that's where we create momentum. When we're having more
Yeah,
fun, things move easier. They
so
just do.
true.
And we know all these things
Yeah.
intellectually, but it's
Yeah.
like actually implementing them. And so there's an accountability factor to it too, that it's like, hey,
Yes.
girlfriend, you got this.
Yes.
And remember,
Totally.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it reminds me of the I don't know what it's called, Kevin, if you can hear this, but the race cars that go really fast, and when they're on a track, and the car that's behind them, it's called something.
Oh
The
yes,
energy sucks it.
pacer or the
The
pacer or somebody.
Kevin, I need you in this part, but that's the part where when you can do it together, the momentum, you go
Yeah,
faster, higher,
100%.
all have a lot more fun. So that's that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Kev, are you back? He's
No,
not back.
he's not.
Smile
We
pretty,
love
baby.
having him in the room.
Smile pretty. Do we need to pause? We're okay. We're just going to keep going, Michelle.
Okay, we can keep going.
Let's just keep going. Okay, so love the ion pods. Love the concept of that. So let's talk about your was it synchronized swimming?
Yeah.
Was that your gold medal?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so synchronized swimming sounds like you definitely have to be very much a part of a team,
Yeah.
right?
And it's
Because
very much about perfection and being judged.
yes, that's so
The
true.
Olympics was pairs that it was in. Yeah.
So on the good side, looking at outside of like you said, the perfectionism part of that, but you also had to build trust and belonging with your
Yeah.
teammates.
Oh
how
yeah.
how do you think entrepreneurs and leaders can apply those lessons like that you learned from synchronized swimming?
Yeah, to be in sync. And you know what? That's one of the things why my partner and I excelled and did as well as we did, because we really did get along.
Mm.
And it's a lot of compromise. I remember one day walking to practice. She looks at me, she goes, what's up? I said, you're getting on my nerves. We had to be able to be open and have
Yeah.
good conversation. It's like, be real. Because you're 24/7 together. So it was really
Yeah.
about it's interesting. We swam at the Commonwealth Games. The Queen was going to be there, the first time she'd ever seen synchronized swimming. The underwater music went out. There was all these challenges, and Carolyn and I could go through our entire routine with no music and be in sync with each other.
Wow.
And that's when you just know each other so well. You've got each other's back, right? I
Mhm.
want to speak to this one of my favorite sports on the planet, which is volleyball. My husband played in 2 Olympics. All of our kids played volleyball. And I love that sport so much because it is ultimately so much about team as well, that the momentum on a volleyball court can change instantly. Whether someone's on the bench or they're on the court, like you just watch. And
Mm.
the more
Yeah.
their energy is there supporting each other and they know they've got each other's back. The same with any sport. When you've got your teammates back, there's this magic place that happens. So it's knowing that they're gonna go the extra mile for you. They're gonna be there.
Mm.
To Carolyn and I joke because it was funny. A couple times in practice, the coach would say, "Oh my God, did you guys change that? We both made the same mistake at the same time and didn't
Oh,
even know
wow.
how attuned we were to each other." So it's like
Mhm.
when everyone puts everything in, you've got each other's back. When something's going to happen, you talk about it right away so you can work through
Mm.
it. Because if you have challenges within your team, that's energy that's pulling the team down.
Yes.
You're on a
Yes.
volleyball court, whether you're in a work environment, wherever it is, if you don't kind of let that go, talk about it like in a real way, don't just brush it under because it's going to come up. You've got to
Mm.
like deal with it and go, okay, because here's a foundation too. Everyone wants to be seen, heard, and know that they matter.
Yeah.
So having those conversations, do you see I'm frustrated? okay, what do we need to do? I hear you. And how can we adapt to this? That rises
Mm.
every.
So good. So good. And if it shows the importance of leadership as
Mhm.
well, where if a coach is trying to ask or quote unquote pit other, like talking to one person and then saying something to another one and let me know about that. It's an interesting dynamic there. It's like when you address it
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
And what's the thing? Confrontation doesn't have to be confrontational. It's
Right.
just confronting it
Yeah.
Right.
without holding offense.
And being open to have those hard conversations.
Yeah.
Like back in my day, we were the first ones to use exercise physiologists, sports psychologists. If you needed
Mm,
a sports psychologist, then you didn't have your shizzle together.
yeah.
The number of athletes that deal with eating disorders, body disorder, like we need to have these conversations because they're struggling some way. This is what happens. Not just there, but when we're overstressed, we have these breakdowns. So we need to have like healthy conversations and ways to release this because
Mm,
that's the thing that keeps us from excelling. It's not our abilities. It's it's what weighs us down that we get to let go of. And there's like a feeling of shame or whatever it is. Like if they actually knew this, no, if they know that, then
mhm.
you can actually have support that
So
you need,
good.
no matter what it
Mm,
is. Whether you're struggling, at a job or as an entrepreneur or whatever, when you kind of say, I really don't get this part, can I, instead of trying to figure it out on your own, thrashing across that pool,
yeah.
because someone can see better from the outside than we can from the inside, but we have to
Mm,
be open up that crack in order for them to see
mm.
what's happening on
Yeah.
the inside.
What's the saying?
That's
You can't read the directions from inside the bottle.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. So
that's
good.
exactly
that's
right.
good. That's good. Well, Michelle, you in your transition from being a gold medalist athlete to an entrepreneur, well, it was anything but smooth and simple. But for some of our listeners right now, maybe after a setback or a career change, what's one lesson you would offer to help them out as they move forward into that new season?
Breathe, brush yourself off. Just take one baby step at a time. Start celebrating those little baby steps. And honestly, surround yourself in a community that gets what you're doing and can pull that out because it's
Mm,
rebuilding that confidence again. It's like literally taking those baby steps and start to build that resiliency and build that confidence again and keep interjecting the FUN. Like, honestly, we can't be so serious. Like, that's
Mm,
like when I get stressed, it's like I just need to shake it out and like turn up, crank on the music, have some fun. Like, it
yeah.
sounds so elementary, but it's so foundational. Baby
Mm,
steps, baby steps.
baby steps.
So,
And I know we mentioned it earlier about being in specific or certain rooms. So
yes.
mm.
I tip my hat to that advice as well, that you
Yeah.
get into those rooms, surround yourself with others that are like-minded, have similar beliefs or goals, because it's that one person, that one negative bit of energy that would sneak in there
Mhm.
that says, why would you ever think you could be a gold medalist, Michelle? That's
Yeah.
silly. It's
Yeah.
that
Mm,
one doubter. It's like, no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to
Mhm.
hear that.
yeah.
And the crazy part is that that voice often is louder in our head than the good ones. So like multiply
Right.
the good ones, and that's where even on a team like the Inspire Action Pods, for example, or a team, whatever team you're on, your work team, like there's everyone is going to have a day that's down, and the chances of everyone at the same time when you're in that kind of environment, next to none. So being able to leverage that everyone takes turns pulling each other up. It's not always the same person, right? It's like, so again, being in
Mhm.
that environment where people are moving in the same direction, that there's going to be times that everyone leads in different ways and pulls up in different ways, that it's not always on the one person's shoulder. That's leadership, is that we
Mm,
allow everyone to step into their greatness and lift from there.
Mm.
so good. It reminds me of marriage. Sometimes when I'm
Yes,
down, Kevin's pulling me up, and
yeah,
when I'm,
honey.
discouraged or he's discouraged, I'm pulling him up. It's relational. The
So
importance of
true.
the relationship in that. Michelle, in recent interviews, you've spoken about identity beyond what we achieve.
Mhm.
How can we start to build a business or personal identity rooted in authentic self-worth
Yeah.
rather than the external performance-based results?
Oh, that's so good. Coming back to really, who are you to the core? What's really important? Because we can be on that chase for the million and this and that. It's like,
Yeah.
really, who to the core, how do you want to feel?
Hmm.
How do you want the people around you to feel? Not to go to people pleasing mode either, but it's like really understanding what's really important when all is said and done, because we only get so long here. If we
Mhm.
went tomorrow, what really matters? And so when we're building from a place, I think when the vision and what we're doing is bigger than ourselves, in a place that so aligns with what our value is and who we get to be in the world, just keep coming back to checking that in, because that's when magic happens.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, it's fantastic advice. And so for our listeners that are wrestling with the imposter syndrome or body image challenges, what are some things, affirmation or mindset shifts that you can share with them to help them reclaim their Monday momentum or their self-trust?
It, one of the biggest like sayings is like, I've got this. Baby steps. I've got this. Like, I've got
Mm-hmm.
this. And not always how, but who can help me with this, getting over this hurdle. And I've got this. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I keep going back to like the having fun, like, do not underestimate taking a moment to breathe and pause. I love, one of the things one of my coaches taught me was like the wait principle, just pausing for a moment. What am I thinking? And is this
Mhm.
helping me or hurting me in this moment? What do I need? I need to step away, nap, snack, play. Just stop and listen to ourselves. We actually have all the answers here.
Yeah.
But when we start going so fast, so, you know, that would be the biggest advice. Pause. What do you need in this moment? If it's to step away, get outside, take care of yourself for a moment, figure out what support do I need, but just pausing long enough to
Mm.
hear that. Is this aligned? What do I need?
Mm-hmm.
And ask.
It's kind of the same thing of what you said earlier. I don't know if you realized what the three things you said exactly were: breathe, what'd you say? Breathe, brush, and baby. So it was breathe, brush it off, and take your baby steps.
Oh my God, I love that.
So
You are the
there's your
acronym
framework.
woman goosebumps.
So you said it. I just edited it. But in my brain, I was like, okay, breathe, brush, and baby. So
Ah,
everything you're saying, and then you said, it's elementary, and we talked about kindergarten. It really does go back to, and then have fun, play music. I mean, who doesn't love that? It's my favorite thing to do is roll down the windows, turn the music on loud, and just drive when I'm feeling heavy, when I
yeah.
need to breathe. I just love it.
And belt out the tunes.
Every bit of it.
You're in Nashville. You don't even have to think it's belt out the tunes. It loses our
Absolutely.
physiology. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And it's like everybody, whether they've built $1 billion business or they're homeless on the streets, loves to have fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody. And that is such a beautiful thing that I know you're pulling out of your coaching business, just pulling that out of people, having the fun and doing all of those things. Like you said, conceptually, we all get it in our brain, but it's that 6 inches, from the brain to the heart to really believe it and do it and act upon it, not to be just inspired, but activate it, motivate beyond motivation. It's activation. And that's what I know that you do so well. So Michelle, before we wrap up here soon, tell us what's next for you. Is there an ambitious or purpose driven goal that you're leaning into right now that our listeners can follow, support, join? What you got, sister?
Okay, love it. Yeah, and you touched on it too. Gosh, I love your acronyms. So good. Inspired action and momentum. That's really what it's about. Like that's what the
Mm.
I am pods are about. How do we create an environment of inspired action? Because we can be busy and go, go, go and friggin' burning out. It's about staying in an inspired action, and that creates momentum. And creating these teams and pods, that's my vision, is creating this big ecosystem where you have a team that's going to cheer you on. Everyone excels so much faster, so
Mm.
much more fun. We're creating this lighter environment in a heavy world. Like it's like, how do we do that? So really that's my vision, is to continue to grow this. Getting my new webpage launched. People can go on there. It's almost up, but I think I'll have the link and figure out what kind of inspired action type they are. Like there's a
Mm.
list of like 12 questions to kind of going, okay, figure out what are the things that we might not even know are holding us back. Where are
Mm.
some of your gifts? I do not like the statement of strength and weaknesses. I like strengths and opportunities for growth. So awareness is part of
Yeah,
it. So like
very good.
they can do the inspired action quiz and just kind of have some insights around that. But that's really my goal and vision, to see people like my daughter at 27, your daughter, like this next generation that are courageous enough to jump in and
Yes.
listen to what their heart's calling them to do. Like my mom, who started her last company at 75 to help my dad. It wasn't in her plans to do that, but she ended up designing clothing for people with limited mobility so they could feel good and give them
Oh,
dignity and pride. Yeah,
mm.
my mom's no longer with us. Unfortunately, we lost her through COVID and to COVID. And so the reality of what really hit there, like understanding, I appreciate the life lessons even more now. And I wish so. That's one of the messages I want to leave too, is like, look at what's right in front of you and not underestimate the gifts that are in front of us on this journey, because that's what it's all about. And so if I
Mm.
can be in this place of inspiring us to step into our greatness, creating an environment where it's a healthy place. It's like a healthy mental wellness mindset in momentum. That's what it's all about, because we all will raise each other in a much healthier world to get rid of
Mm.
all the anxiety. Like, let's go have a lot more fun. Let go.
Flush it,
Let
flush
Good.
it.
Mm.
Well, Michelle, or to those that are a little bit closer to you, MC squared, we want to thank you so much for being so real and so powerful and giving us great insight. Your champion mindset is what our community certainly needs right now.
Yes, and so before we wrap up, Michelle, what is a way that our listeners can connect with you, your work, your IM pods, where they can take their next step, maybe alongside or with you?
Yeah, my new site should be up soon. So michellecameroncoulter.com. They can do the quiz and like find out more about the I am pods and jump in and have a watch of the TEDx, and hopefully something sings to you in there. That was a stretch of letting go of perfection to do the TEDx itself, which was
Yeah.
interesting. So like hop on there, leave a comment. I will comment back too when you hop
Mm.
on and watch the TEDx, because it's like a message that gets to get out there. We are capable of amazing things, and we get to have a lot more fun and take care of ourselves in that
Mm.
process.
It's amazing what comes with wisdom, with birthdays,
Yeah,
isn't it, Michelle?
so true.
Well,
So
thank
true.
you. Thanks for being on the Conquer Club podcast with us today. And I know all of our listeners will be blessed by this episode and by your wisdom and your golden nuggets. Thank you all for tuning in. And if this episode sparked something for you, drop a comment below. What was your biggest breakthrough in hearing this conversation? And maybe you know somebody who's walking out something, maybe a former athlete who needs this message. So, like, subscribe, and share the show, and keep conquering your own next chapter. And as Kevin and I like to end all of our podcasts,
Peace in,
peace out,
Kevin.
and Tanya Stout. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Appreciate you. So, how many of you are ready to conquer your business, your income, and your life? Hit subscribe and join the Conquer Club, and let's start winning together.
Peace in,
Peace out,
Kevin
And
Tanya Stout.